6 p.m. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The Prime Minister says Pakistan is determined to further enhance its trade with the United States in multidimensional fields. Shahbaz Sharif will participate in the United Nations Conference on Least Developed Countries beginning in Doha tomorrow. The Finance Minister has assured maximum support and cooperation to facilitate intending Hujjaj. In the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference has lamented over the genocide of Kashmiris by the Indian Army to change the demography of the territory. 6 European countries have called on Israel to halt expansion of settlements in occupied West Bank. In the Pakistan Super League Season 8, Lahore Qalandars will play against Multan Sultans in Lahore today. And now the news in detail. The Prime Minister Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif says Pakistan values its mutually beneficial ties with the United States and is determined to further enhance its trade and investment in multidimensional fields including information technology, agriculture and industry. He was talking to Pakistan's ambassador to the United States, Sardar Masood Khan, who called on him in Islamabad today. The Prime Minister directed the envoy to identify further avenues of collaboration to promote Pakistan-US trade and investment. He also directed the Pakistan mission in Washington and the authorities in Pakistan to extend full cooperation to the American investors. The Prime Minister underscored that the government is working on a priority basis to further ease trade and investment-related rules and regulations. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif will participate in the United Nations Conference on the Least Developing Countries being held in Doha, Qatar. The conference, which starts tomorrow and will continue till Thursday next, will consider steps for accelerating sustainable development in the least developed countries, helping them make progress on the road to prosperity. The Prime Minister will hold bilateral meetings and interact with the participating leaders and heads of delegation on the sidelines of the conference. The Finance Minister Ishaq Dar has assured maximum support and cooperation to facilitate the intending Hujjaj. He was presiding over a meeting on Hajj Policy 2023 in Islamabad today. The Finance Minister said Hajj is a sacred obligation to be performed by every Muslim and we have to contribute our part for the blessings of Allah the Almighty. During the meeting, the Minister for Religious Affairs and Interfaith Harmony, Mufti Abdul Shakur, informed the Finance Minister about certain issues related to foreign exchange and sought his support. The Minister for Finance, Mohammad Ishaq Dar, says Pakistan is ready to extend further relief support to Turkey for the earthquake-affected people. He was talking to the Turkish ambassador Dr. Mehmet Bakachi, who called on him in Islamabad today. Ishaq Dar expressed sympathy on human and material losses and the deadly earthquake in Turkey. The two sides also exchanged views on economic trade and investment cooperation between Pakistan and Turkey. The Finance Minister Mohammad Ishaq Dar has stressed the need to further enhance business collaboration between Pakistan and the United States. He was talking to Pakistan's ambassador to the United States, Sardar Masood Khan, who called on him in Islamabad. The minister said there is a great potential of growth in commercial ties between the two countries. The ambassador apprised the Finance Minister that the friendly relations between the two countries are deepening and mutual cooperation is increasing with the passage of time. The Finance Minister extended his full support and cooperation to the ambassador and expressed the hope that bilateral collaborations between the two countries would further grow during his tenure. This is Radio Pakistan. The Minister for Poverty Alleviation and Social Protection and Chairman Benazir Income Support Program, Shazia Mari, says the government has earmarked over 78 billion rupees for the next installment of Benazir Kafalat, whereas the annual budget for the program is 252 billion rupees. Talking to media after inaugurating Benazir Dynamic Registry Center in Khangar today, she said 6 dynamic registry centers have been set up in Muzaffargarh district under the Benazir Income Support Program. She said currently more than 321,000 families of Muzaffargarh district are being given scholarships under the Benazir Income Support Program. In the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the all parties Hurriyat Conference leaders have deplored the genocide of Kashmiri Muslims by the Indian troops to change the demography of the held territory. The all parties Hurriyat Conference leaders paid rich tribute to the victims of Shipaiya massacre on their 5th martyrdom anniversary being observed today. 6 youths were martyred by the troops during a so-called cordon and search operation in Pahnu area of Shipaiya district on this day in 2018. In their statement in Srinagar, the APHC leaders including Ghulam Muhammad Khan Supori said India has made the occupied territory the most militarized zone in the world, where the Indian troops have been engaged in the killing of innocent people for the last over 7 decades. Meanwhile, political experts and analysts in their interviews and statements in Srinagar said the Narendra Modi-led fascist Indian government is rendering the Kashmiris homeless in their own homeland on one pretext or another. In India, the state of Karnataka has imposed a ban on wearing hijab by female Muslim students inside the examination centres. The Education Minister B.C. Nagesh has asserted that those who will wear hijab will not be allowed to sit in the examination. The Karnataka High Court has rejected the applications in this regard by students and upheld the government's order on uniforms. Japan's government has pledged financial and technological support to ASEAN countries for accelerating their efforts to decarbonize their economies and combat global climate change. Addressing a ministerial meeting of the Asia Zero Emission Community in Tokyo, Japanese Industry Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura said Japan will take a lead in providing generous support in finance, technology and personal resources to help Asia's decarbonization. In Malaysia, at least 4 people have died and nearly 41,000 evacuated after floodwaters caused by unusual torrential rain swept through several states. The country's southern Johor state was the worst hit, with thousands of people moved to relief centers in schools and community halls. In Indonesia, at least 17 people have died in a huge fire at a state-run fuel depot in the capital Jakarta. 60 people were injured, with many people severely burnt. Hundreds of people living in residential areas near the fire were evacuated. The Indonesian officials are calling for an audit of all fuel facilities and infrastructures. The World Health Organization has urged all countries to reveal the origins of COVID-19. The World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said if any country has information about the origin of the pandemic, it is essential to be shared with World Health Organization and the international scientific community. He said the purpose is to advance our understanding of how this pandemic started so we can prevent, prepare for and respond to future epidemics and pandemics. In the American state of Kentucky, at least 9 people were killed due to tornadoes and heavy rains. The heavy rain and storms have also caused power suspension to 1 million people. The National Weather Service said the powerful storm is moving to the northeastern part of the United States, which will cause heavy snow and rain from southern eastern Michigan to east New York State. 6 European countries have called on Israel to halt expansion of settlements in the occupied West Bank. In a joint statement, Germany, France, Britain, Italy, Poland and Spain urged Israel to reverse its recent decision to advance the construction of more than 7,000 settlement building units across the occupied West Bank and to legalize settlement outposts. Cricket. The 20th match of the Pakistan Super League Season 8 will be played between Lahore Qalandars and Multan Sultan in Lahore today. The match will start at 7 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. And finally, the weather report. Mainly dry weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, light rain is likely at isolated places in Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.